Hello and welcome to Blank Whisper and Jax King Stories. I am Blank Whisper and I will be telling the third story. The story of how I broke my wrist. So let me fill you in on the details. I broke my left wrist. Yeah, it was very painful. Now, I have to wear a cast for it, which now a picture is being displayed of it. And of course, just like the face of my cat Dexter, this cast is really annoying. Now, I know it's supposed to protect my wrist, but still, it gets itchy, and I get that with casts, but still. Okay, now I bet you've all been dying to know, how did I break my wrist? In order for me to tell you, I first have to go over a few things. Everybody should be familiar with Field Day. If you don't know what Field Day is, let me explain it to you. It's basically a day where it's just a fun day. You just get to do all these fun things around your school, like water activities, bouncy house, like other games that just involve fun all day throughout school. And let me tell you which game I broke my wrist in, because I broke my wrist in Field Day. So let me take it all back to the beginning of Field Day, of my school's Field Day. So it started off with me going to school. And of course, I didn't know if it was Field Day and we had to wear a specific shirt. So I just put on a shirt and then I just left. But I put the shirt that was supposed to be used for Field Day in my backpack. Then I just went to school. Then when I got there, I found out it was Field Day. So I had to go change my shirt. Yeah, I had to go change it in the bathroom. Then I got back to class and my teacher had to leave for her son's graduation thingy party, sorta. Then the pre-K teacher basically kind of subbed for my teacher. The pre-K teacher and my teacher are friends. And yes, my school's sort of connected to like middle schools and a high school. So anyways, then we went out to play Field Day. And the first game was a ground tic-tac-toe. So, to explain, it was like tic-tac-toe, but with like, I forget what we used. I think we used beanbags, but not that type of tic-tac-toe. We used like regular. So, it was made up like the regular board of tic-tac-toe, and we had the like beanbags, and then we threw them to where we thought would be the best spot. And then the people that were volunteering at that spot put frisbees down to mark it. And then, of course, whoever won would be. However, of course, the normal way of winning in tic-tac-toe. Then the next game was this game where we had a ball that could like bounce off walls. We had to throw it and try and catch it. And my team didn't even win. Then again, I switched teams, but neither team won. Then we went back into the building to play a game called Eagle's Nest, which is basically a game where you have to be determined with a ball in the middle. A person hits a ball to another, and if it hits anywhere below you, like your legs to your feet, you're out. But anywhere above that, you are not out. And if the last person who hit it, and that ball goes out of the Eagle's Nest, which is basically like a big circle. So, like, the ball goes out. The last person who touched it would be out. And in order to win, you have to not be hit by the ball, not hit it out of the Eagle's Nest, and hit it twice in a short amount. So, like, you can't be like, stop, hit it. I mean, you can, but, like, stop, and then you can get away from the ball. So we played a whole game of everyone in the Eagle's Nest, and you have to hit it with your hands, not anything else. We played a whole game with everyone. I didn't win that, but then the first voice game. Let's see who won. I'll tell you in 3, 2, 1. The winner was me. I won that game. Then I had to be put in a game with girls. house. Then we played at the Bouncy Castle and the Bounce Challenge Bounce House. Now, the Bouncy House is self-explanatory, but the Bounce Challenge thingy, you basically had to get through, like, these bouncy tubes, and you had to climb up, like, a bouncy staircase and slide down. But now we're getting close to how I broke my wrist. Let's go to the next game, which is musical chairs, which I got first out on. Yeah, that kind of sucked. And then we played this game where you had a cup and you had to like scoop water from a bucket and bring it to a smaller bucket to fill the smaller bucket up to win. And the cup didn't look like the picture that I'm showing you right now. It was more of a flat cup. It didn't have like a handle, and it had like small holes at the bottom like a sprinkler cup. Then we played this game, which basically is where you have to load up a water gun and you have to shoot a ball to get it past the white line to win. Now, let's get to where I broke my wrist in the game called Drip, Drip, Drop, which is basically the water version of Duck, Duck, Goose. The person you pick, you have to soak with a sponge. Well, actually, before I explain Drip, Drip, Drop, let me explain Duck, Duck, Goose in case you don't know what Duck, Duck, Goose is. So basically, if you are the person that picks, you pick someone that is sitting down in a circle. I almost knocked my drink down. I'm sorry that I had to tell you that, but I almost knocked... Okay, so you're the tagger in Duck, Duck, Goose. You pick somebody that is sitting down in the circle, and then they have to run after you, and you have to get to their spot before they tag you. If they tag you before you can get back to their spot, you have to pick a new person. If they cannot catch you before they get back to you... Okay, so basically, if they're running after you and you need to get back to their spot, and you get back to their spot, they have to be the tagger. Now, let me explain Drip, Drip, Drop. Now, it's sort of like that. So basically, Drip, Drip, Drop is where the tagger, or the person that picks, has a sponge. And whoever they pick, they soak with the sponge. And since I have to be soaked, and this takes place in the grass on field day, my Drip, Drip, Drop, when you soak someone, you soak the grass beneath them too. So basically, you soak someone, and it's basically the same thing as Duck, Duck, Goose. So let me explain how I broke my wrist. Sorry that I keep fumbling and stumbling and whatnot. So after losing a lot and winning a few times and just playing a lot, it just got boring after a while. So we got to Drip, Drip, Drop, and since Christian, one of the people in my class, he's kind of annoying. I'll tell you about him in a different story. He got picked because he asked one of the Drip, Drip, Drop helpers if he could be first. And he got to be first. Then he picked Josh, another person in my class. Josh couldn't catch him, so he was the dropper. Josh dripped me. And so I ran after him, but I didn't catch him in time, so I had to be the dropper. Now, let me tell you, this is the part where I broke my wrist. So, of course, I'm it now. So I had to pick someone to drop, and I dropped my friend Clayton. Then I run, and when I get to a spot, I slip on the grass. Since I soaked him, I soaked the grass beneath him. And when I went to sit down, I fell on, like, the wet grass and, like, twisted my hand, like, really wrong. So then I had to go to the nurse's office. Now, everything was bad enough with me being wet and kind of cold and me thinking that I could feel the bone move in my hand. And the nurse said it's either sprained or fractured. And my wrist is fractured, but it is practically broken. So, with every school nurse, she just puts ice on it. Typical nurse move, of course. And her name is Nurse Sherry. So yeah, I'm just sitting there in pain, and then my mom was in the shower when she got the call that I need to be picked up, and Nurse Sherry also called my dad. And so I was just sitting there, and when my mom got there, for the first time ever in school, I cried. I just cannot hold my tears back anymore. It just hurt so bad. So we went to the hospital, and I had to get x-rays, and of course I had to get that temporary white cast that I showed you at the beginning, and I'll put a picture of it right now. Okay, then, so I left the hospital, and I went and got McDonald's, and it was pretty good. And it was just a really bad day. And then the next day, I had to go to a doctor, an orthopedic doctor, and he said I had to have surgery and a new cast put on. So I went to a hospital. I got injected. I got my blood. I got my pulse tested and whatnot. Got my first shot because the only shot I've ever had is when I was a baby, and I couldn't remember that. So yeah, I technically had my first shot that I could remember. And then I was taken back, and then they put anesthesia into my IV. They didn't even have to make me count backwards from 10. I was out. Then I woke up, and I saw that I had an orange cast on, which I put a picture of. Okay, now here we are. I can sort of play video games. It's kind of hard, but it's not impossible. So thank you for tuning into this story. There will be a new one tomorrow. I don't know what, but we'll find out. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Make sure to go check out my main channel so you can find out everything about every other channel. There will be some new uploads on every channel I can try and get today. Now, some channels are on different devices, so I can't get them out until I get back to my regular house. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.